Welcome back to the deep dive. The last time we left our companions, they had just finished a really intense first leg of their journey.
Intense is one word for it. After dealing with everything up the coast and at the Carnath Roadhouse, they finally make it to Leyland.
And I think, they can finally breathe. They believe they're just a few days away from a simple delivery in Phandalin. Just a routine contract.
That belief is now history. Today, we're watching that contract just completely unravel.
In a really violent way.
Oh, absolutely. We're moving from what was, quirky and sometimes dangerous travel into something much darker. This is brutal, organized crime out in the wilderness.
So the mission just shifts. It's not an escort job anymore.
Not at all. In the blink of an eye, it becomes a high-stakes rescue operation. And frankly, it's a turn that no amount of planning could have prepared them for.
And that rapid escalation is exactly what we need to focus on today. We're diving deep into this dramatic interruption on the Triboar Trail.
There's such a sharp contrast to analyze here. You have this moment of pure, whimsical safety, this magical refuge.
And then it's just shattered, utterly shattered by the reality of a grim professional goblin ambush.
Exactly. So we'll detail the investigation, the interrogation that follows, which is so critical.
Because that's what gives us the first real look at who's actually pulling the strings, the powerful, shadowy figures behind this whole operation.
To do that, we're synthesizing a few key sources. We have reports from their brief rest in Leyland, which tells us a lot about their mindset.
Then there are the observations from that dangerously fast journey.
We'll cross-reference that with the grim details from the attack scene itself, and of course the crown jewel, the intelligence they pull from an enemy captive.
That interrogation really is the moment the fog starts to clear.
It is. And for you, the listener, this is the point where the job ends and the real adventure begins.
Okay, so let's ground ourselves back in Leyland. They've arrived, they're exhausted, and they still have this cart full of mining supplies they need to get to Phandalin.
Before they can even think about the Triboar Trail, they need a moment. They have to stock up, and maybe more importantly, they need to find some kind of inner peace.
It's a really brief, but I think very telling, moment of calm before the storm.
It really is. And you see the party's roles crystallize here. Lyra, ever the pragmatist, she just jumps on logistics.
Right, she goes to the general store, she's making sure they have enough rations, checking the horses, the cart, all that foundational stuff.
It's the kind of work that often goes completely unnoticed, but without it, the whole expedition just falls apart. She's the anchor.
But while she's handling the practical side of things, Ohio Jim is proving, once again, that ordinary places can hide extraordinary secrets.
He's just got this unique talent, doesn't he? It's not just about being sneaky. It's a kind of spatial awareness. He sees the world differently.
So he's drawn to what seems like a totally unremarkable tool shack.
Right. Most people would just see saws, hammers, dust. But Jim looks past that. He sees where the wear on the floor is unnatural, where a space shouldn't exist.
And he finds a hidden room.
He finds a concealed compartment, a whole hidden room inside the shack, and unearths several items of pretty significant value.
Which is more than just a fun little side story.
Oh, it's strategic observation. It confirms that Jim is this reliable, if unpredictable, stream of resources for the party. He can generate capital when they need it most.
It just reinforces this idea that in their world, nothing is ever quite what it seems. There's always another layer.
If you know how to look for it.
And speaking of hidden depths, this stop in Leyland also throws a spotlight on this powerful internal conflict happening within Valindra.
The party's cleric. On the surface, she's doing exactly what you'd expect.
She visits a local shrine to Lathander, the god of dawn. She's seeking blessings for a safe journey, hope, renewal, the standard package.
That's her public faith, the duty that binds her to the group. But the sources show this fascinating duality.
Because she knows the road ahead isn't just going to be difficult, it's going to be violent.
Exactly. The gentle light of Lathander might not be enough to handle the raw chaos of the frontier. So she makes this secret detour.
A prayer to a very different power.
A very different power. Talos, the god of storms, the god of destruction and chaotic fury.
Wow. So, is this hypocrisy? Or is it just her being a realist?
That's the core question, isn't it? I think it's a kind of strategic realism.
Yeah.
She recognizes the world they're in is fundamentally chaotic.
So Lysander gives them purpose.
But Talos provides the raw kinetic power you need for survival. And crucially, for retribution.
And her prayer is answered.
Oh, it's answered immediately and viscerally. She gets this powerful, almost disturbing vision of a colossal figure standing in the middle of a raging storm.
A manifestation of pure destructive force.
Yeah, this isn't just a premonition. It's almost like a spiritual pact. It foreshadows the exact chaos that is about to engulf them literally moments later on the road. The storm isn't just approaching. In a way, it feels like it's been summoned.
That's a powerful way to put it. So, with the sun's blessing and the storm's warning, the party gets moving. And they are moving much, much faster than anyone could have imagined.
Which brings us to what you've called the gnomish speedrun.
It's the only way to describe it. The trip from Leylon to Fanlin should take, what, 2.5 days of hard travel?
At least. But this is where the two gnomes, Wilbys and Umpin, reveal they are much more than simple cart drivers.
They have this powerful, totally unexplained ability to just accelerate the cart.
Far beyond any normal means. We're talking about covering 2 days worth of distance in just a few hours. The sources offer no explanation, no magic words, no runes on the cart. It's just something they can do.
And what's the result of that? The main party is just hurtling down the trail.
Piled into this supply cart, moving at an almost unnatural pace. The landscape is just a blur, the wind is rushing past them. It would have been a really jarring, unsettling experience.
It throws the whole rhythm of the journey off.
Completely. And this incredible speed, it creates a crucial tactical split in the party.
Right, because not everyone is on the cart.
Exactly. Everyone else piles on to keep up with the gnomes. Everyone except Lyra and Imogen.
They decide to stay on horseback, maintaining a more traditional pace. Why is that decision so important here?
It's vital, because it physically separates two of their most capable fighters from the main group. By moving slower, they end up about 8 hours behind the cart when things go wrong.
And if they had all been together,
the whole situation might have played out differently. Their combined strength might have been enough to deter an attack entirely. But the gnomes' need for speed created this vulnerability. It guaranteed that when the main group hit the trap, they were under strength. That separation is the linchpin of the disaster that follows.
So as this main group is rushing ahead, the gnomes just stop.
Suddenly, abruptly. They seem to sense something ahead. An obstruction, a danger. We don't know what, but they feel it. And right at that moment, the storm Valindra saw in her vision starts to roll in for real.
And this is that moment of peak contrast you mentioned.
It is. The world is getting dark, the wind is picking up, chaos is literally manifesting around them. And the gnomes respond with complete, utter absurdity.
They start dancing.
They step down from the cart and perform this strange, intricate, almost comical little dance, a bizarre ritual right there on the dusty Triboar Trail.
And the result of this roadside performance.
Instant, total, magical shelter, the ritual ends, and a tiny, magical hut just springs into existence.
Like a little cottage just appearing out of thin air.
A perfect example of portable safety magic. It's this powerful image. The world is threatening to tear itself apart. Here's this whimsical, protective bubble.
Gnomes disappear inside, of course.
Immediately, leaving the rest of the group, Turin, Ohio Jim, Plepjild, and Valindra, to deal with the tension outside.
So you have this small group, huddled in a magical cottage, completely safe from the storm, enjoying this perfect artificial peace. Feels too safe.
It's a false sense of security. And the sources really emphasize that. They are physically safe from the wind and the rain, yes. But they are still sitting in the middle of a trail that someone or something was clearly expecting to be blocked.
This little bubble of high fantasy whimsy.
It just makes the brutal reality of what comes next even more jarring. They're about to learn that no magical shelter can protect you from organized, targeted violence.
And that illusion of peace, it really doesn't last long, does it? Maybe an hour.
Not even. While the others are inside the hut, Plipshap, the turtle druid, is doing his duty. He's standing watch outside.
And his vigilance pays off immediately?
Instantly. He spots a figure. It's a suspicious human-sized silhouette just standing on a nearby hill.
Not a traveler.
No, this is a lookout. A scout. Watching them, noting their position, probably reporting back to a command structure somewhere. And Plipshap knows it. He immediately moves to investigate.
So the surveillance was subtle, but the response to him investigating was not.
Not at all. It was immediate and vicious. As Plep moves towards the scout, the danger doesn't come from the hill. It comes from the woods. 3 massive wolves just launch themselves at him.
They're using the environment as a weapon.
A classic tactic. Wolves in this kind of wilderness are very rarely just random animals. They're hunters, they're perimeter guards. Sometimes they're even trained companions for groups like goblins.
And this attack forces everyone out of the hut.
The bubble is shattered. The whole party has to rush out of their magical safe space to help Plep fighting these creatures in the middle of this rising storm. They win, they defeat the wolves, but the point has been made.
The woods have responded to their presence with hostility. A signal has been sent.
And it confirms that this is an organized threat. But the full, grim reality of the situation, that doesn't hit them until the next morning.
When they move further down the trail, to the spot the gnomes had sensed was blocked.
And the scene they find is horrific.
Just a tableau of destruction.
A burned-out wagon, or what's left of it, charred wood, twisted metal, and the bodies of dead horses. The sources emphasize the sheer viciousness of it. This was not a simple robbery.
No, this was an ambush. Brutal, organized, designed to block the trail and eliminate any witnesses.
The fact that they burned the wagon suggests they were trying to destroy evidence. Or maybe just sending a message.
And they don't even get time to process this discovery before they're attacked again.
Precisely. As they're taking in the scene, the attackers themselves descend. The Cragmaw goblins.
Which tells you they were using this wreckage as a strategic ambush point.
They were lying in wait, either for more travelers or maybe they were coming back to clean up. The party's arrival triggered the second phase of their plan.
And the fight is just chaos.
Pure chaos. But you see these moments of decisive action cut through it. Ohio Jim, with his speed, he strikes first.
Then the heavy hitters engage.
Right. You have Turin, the gnomish barbarian who can take and deliver incredible punishment. You have Alindra, now fighting with all that chaotic storm energy she prayed for. And, crucially,
Lyra and Imogen arrive.
Just in the nick of time. They finally close that 8-hour gap and ride right into the fray.
That timing is so critical. A few minutes later and the rest of the party might have been overwhelmed.
It's a razor-thin margin of error. But even with their full strength, there are immediate consequences.
The goblin boss flees.
He does. He sees the tide turning and makes a tactical retreat, which is important. It shows they're not just a mindless horde. They have a sense of self-preservation, a command structure.
And Imogen gets injured.
A stark reminder that they're not invincible. And then, most dramatically, the woods catch fire.
During the fight? How?
It's not totally clear. Maybe it was Valindra's aggressive storm magic, or maybe something of Jem's. The point is, the fight was so intense it literally set the forest ablaze.
So that routine journey is now an uncontrolled inferno and a brutal fight for survival. The fire is such a potent symbol.
It is. It's the visual manifestation of the chaos Valindra sought from Talos. But now it's out of her control. It's consuming the very environment they need to navigate.
So they're left with a smoking battlefield, an injured friend, and the chilling realization that they just walked into a trap.
A trap that was set for someone else.
Yeah.
And the most pressing question in the world becomes, who was the original target, and what did the attackers manage to take? They're no longer fulfilling a contract, they're solving a crime.
Okay, so once the immediate fighting is over and the fire is, well, maybe not out, but managed, the party switches gears. They go from combat to full-on investigation.
They have to. They are standing in the middle of an active crime scene, and every track in the dirt, every scorch mark, holds a piece of the puzzle.
And the first things they find are the tracks.
Right. Strange, rough tracks and these deep drag marks leading away from the burnt wagon off into the woods.
So not just footprints of people running away?
No, this is different. This suggests heavy things, or more likely incapacitated people, were hauled away with purpose. It confirms the ambush was successful. They got what or who they came for.
And they find another piece of physical evidence, something carved into the wagon itself.
Yes, a strange foreign script. It's not common, it's not any typical local dialect. This is a huge clue.
Because it suggests the wagon and its owners were special, not just common merchants.
Exactly. High status or carrying something unique. It elevates the whole event from a simple roadside robbery to a highly targeted, coordinated hit.
But the real pivot point, the moment that changes everything, is that they managed to capture one of the attackers.
They got a goblin shaman.
Yeah.
A live captive. Terrified, yes, but he holds the key to understanding the entire conspiracy.
And they begin the interrogation.
A very high-pressure interrogation. They leverage his fear. He's a low-level operator.
Yeah.
And he is more than willing to trade names to save his own skin.
And this is where the intelligence briefing begins. Layer by layer. What does he tell them first?
He starts local. He admits the entire goblin force in that area is actually pretty small. Fewer than 20.
So it's an outpost. A forward operating base, not the main army.
Precisely. Dangerous enough to pull off an ambush, but a small enough number to give the party a fighting chance.
And who's in charge of this small, brutal force?
Their immediate leader, the shaman reveals, is a massive bugbear named Clarg.
A bugbear. Okay, for our listeners, that's a serious escalation.
It's a huge escalation. Goblins are skirmishers. Bugbears are the special forces. They're bigger, stronger, and much more tactically aware. Clarg's presence means this wasn't just random banditry. It was a professional operation run by a competent and violent commander.
So Clarg is the local boss. But who does Clarg report to?
And that's the next layer of the onion. The shaman reveals the command structure. Clarg, the bugbear, answers directly to King Groll.
King Groll.
King Groll of the notorious Cragmaw tribe. And his base of operations is a fortress, Cragmaw Castle.
A king in a castle. This just went from dealing with a gang to confronting a monstrous feudal system.
You're absolutely right. They now know the enemy has a fortified position, an established stronghold, a clear hierarchy. They don't just have to find a cave, they have to find a castle.
Which brings us to the climax of the interrogation, the real target, and the real employer.
The shaman confirms their worst fears about their missing patron, Gundren Rockseeker. This was no random attack.
He was the target all along.
He was. And the mastermind who paid for the whole operation, the one who bankrolled this high-risk abduction, was known only as the Black Spider.
The Black Spider. Just the name itself, it suggests someone operating on a completely different level.
It is the single moment that transforms their mission from a regional problem into a potential global conspiracy.
So the Black Spider paid King Groll's tribe to specifically capture Gundren Rockseeker.
Which tells you three things right away. One, the Black Spider has serious resources. Two, they have influence over these powerful, monstrous tribes. And three, Gundren is an extremely high-value asset.
They're facing an antagonist who commands armies from the shadows.
And what did the Black Spider want from Gundren? It wasn't just the dwarf.
No. The shaman confirms Gundren was taken along with all his personal effects, including a specific valuable map.
And there it is. The map is the real prize, the MacGuffin.
Right. For you listening, a MacGuffin is that plot device. A jewel, a blueprint, in this case, a map, that drives the entire story. It's what everyone is after.
Exactly. And this map is the currency of the conspiracy. It explains why a shadowy figure would hire a king and his army just to intercept one dwarf on a trail.
And where are Gundren and the map now?
According to the shaman, they've both been delivered to King Groll at Cragmaw Castle, which immediately sets the party's new ultimate objective.
But the shaman gives them something more immediate, too. A closer target. What about Gundren's human companion, Don John Raskin?
John Raskin is alive, but he wasn't sent to the castle. He's being held locally, at the goblins' own lair, Clarg's base.
The shaman's camp.
In a place he ominously calls the Eating Cave.
The Eating Cave, okay.
So this gives the party an immediate, achievable first step, a tactical pathway to begin the rescue before they even think about assaulting a castle.
So from one captive, they've mapped out the entire threat. The local force, the bugbear commander, the goblin king, the castle, and the shadowy mastermind behind it all.
And they have the locations of 2 prisoners in 2 different places. The complexity just went up exponentially.
And that complexity isn't just about fighting monsters, it's an ethical problem now.
It is. The intelligence is locked down, the smoke is clearing, and the party is staring at 2 competing high-stakes obligations. They can't do both.
Let's break down this dilemma. Obligation 1 is their job, their contract. They have to deliver the mining supplies to Phandalin.
That's their professional economic duty. It's what they were hired to do.
Obligation 2 is moral. They now know their patron, Gundren, and his companion, Don John, are captives. They are responsible for them.
It's loyalty to their employer, who has now become someone they need to save.
And the constraints are time and risk. The rescue mission needs speed, stealth, a focused military approach.
Which is completely at odds with protecting a slow-moving cart full of supplies and 2 non-combatant gnomes.
So they have to choose.
And this is the pivotal decision. This is where they go from being contracted guards to being proactive heroes. They choose loyalty. They choose the rescue over the safer economic contract.
They decide to split their forces.
A massive risk. But it shows a fundamental change in their identity.
So what's the logic there? They're just sending the gnomes and all those valuable supplies off on their own. That seems incredibly dangerous.
They recognize the risk, absolutely. But the supplies are just stuff. Gundren and Don John are alive and in active danger. Plus, they know the gnomes, Wilbys and Umbin, have that magical hut.
Ah, right. So they have some measure of protection.
A level of protection the rest of the party can't rely on in the wild. The goal is to free up the main fighting force. Turin, Valindra, Jim, Plupklep, Lyra, and Imogen from the burden of the cart.
So the gnomes head to Phandalin alone to complete the delivery and get to safety. They fulfill the letter of the contract.
While the heroes go off to pursue the spirit of their commitment, they are trading a guaranteed paycheck for the uncertain risk of a high-stakes confrontation.
They're essentially abandoning their income to chase goblins into hostile territory.
It's the moment they shed their mercenary skin. They're embracing the role of protectors. The party immediately sets off on those rough tracks they found, leading away from the ambush site.
Their mission is now singular.
Hunt the Cragmaw goblins. Follow the trail to the bugbear Clarg. And attempt a rescue, starting with the closest target, Don John Raskin in the Eating Cave.
What does this split really mean for them, strategically?
Well, first, they've deliberately weakened their numbers by leaving the gnomes. But more importantly, they've just declared war. They're not reacting anymore. They are now actively hunting an organized criminal network.
A network whose leaders, King Groll and the Black Spider, have already shown they are willing to use massive violence to get what they want.
They've gone from escorts to investigators, and now to armed rescuers chasing a conspiracy. The wilderness they're about to step into is no longer just a dangerous road. It's enemy territory.
And they have the names. Clarg, Groll, the Black Spider. This is intelligence that most people on the frontier would run from, not towards.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that information puts a moral burden on them. They know a terrible thing has happened, and they might be the only people in the world who can fix it. They chose life over profit, and that choice is leading them straight into the heart of the darkness.
So the journey has just taken this incredibly hard, dramatic turn. What started as a pretty straightforward escort mission is now an emergency rescue.
All because of the intelligence they managed to pull from one terrified goblin shaman. The contrast is just so stark. One night they're in the absurd comfort of a magical hut.
And the next they're standing over burnt wreckage, smelling the blood and the smoke.
And the details are now chillingly clear. Gundren Rockseeker was targeted by the Black Spider. The abduction was ordered specifically to get that valuable map he was carrying.
And the party knows where to go. The Eating Cave is the immediate target, but they know the bigger fight is with King Groll at Cragmaw Castle.
So the gnomes and the cart, they are now pointed down the road towards the relative safety of Phandalin to fulfill the letter of the contract.
While our heroes are standing at the edge of the woods, getting ready to follow those tracks into the wilderness, they know exactly what they're hunting now.
An organized, formidable tribe, all working for the enigmatic and clearly very wealthy Black Spider.
And this is where we have to leave them, poised right on the edge of the unknown.
Think about it. The Black Spider paid a king and his army a bounty for one dwarf and a map. Just consider for a moment the scale of that investment.
What kind of secret must that map hold for a shadowy figure to risk such a brazen, high-profile abduction?
And what kind of power must this figure wield if they can command bugbear kings and their goblin armies from afar?
Our heroes have moved way beyond just doing a job. They are now following a trail of breadcrumbs, and it's leading them into what is clearly a major regional, maybe even global conspiracy. The woods are silent now, but the hunt has begun. We'll see what they find in that eating cave next time.